Hi, my name is Diana Britton, Managing Editor of wealthmanagement.com. Welcome to the latest Hype or Not episode. We're here filming this live from the Wealth Management Edge Conference in sunny Hollywood, Florida. We're not at the beach. We're here in this little studio, but we're going to discuss alternative investment platforms. They're hot. They're growing. You know, you've got Case. I think which is now a unicorn, raising a lot of funds. You've got iCapital, also raising a lot of venture capital, private equity money there, and advisors are interested. It's especially now with market volatility. Do you need to expand more into alternative investments and add more investments that are non-correlated to the markets? This is a hot topic. Let's start with you, Davis. What are your thoughts on these platforms? Is it hype?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is hype. I had the pleasure actually at the conference here, and I say even though we're locked inside today, we have a nice booth, nicer than our usual digs. But I had the pleasure yesterday of talking with Shane Williams, who's kind of totally rebuilt the tech stack at Case. I've covered iCapital, and late last year, it took in $400 million. Case took in 200 something million. iCapital recently acquired Simon Networks in addition, which made the possibility of an advisor being able to sort of straight through process various types of alternative investment transactions much easier, much less manual. But I do wonder if it's a solution in search of a problem, in that, even when they share their own numbers, yes, they're in the billions, but when you spread that across hundreds of thousands of advisors, it still doesn't show that there's an awful lot of the client base, except maybe at the very top levels in terms of their assets, are in need just yet. And then you have the big question of what all this volatility means. Is a lot of that investing capital going to go poof over the coming months? I don't know.
Well, if you think about it, they just changed the rules recently of what a qualified investor is.
That's true.
So I think that's going to open up the gate for a lot more adoption, particularly in this
point.
Volatility. As Diana mentioned, people are still in search of yield. Our interest rates, even if they've gone up just a little bit, so that's always going to be a demand. And I think advisors are just learning more and more about it. I think it's really the end client that's driving them towards this. I don't know if you consider digital assets like Bitcoin an alternative asset, but clearly people are clamoring for that. It's still early days.
There's a few 100,000 though that they're clamoring that wish they had gotten out of it or not ever been in it. But I digress.
Well, you don't know that for
Crypto
sure.
assets.
Yeah, clearly it's like any asset class. It's going to go up and down.
Okay.
All right, sound effects are welcome on the Hyper Not program. But clearly there is an opportunity. It's very clunky to do alternative investment. A lot of paperwork, PDFs, reporting on that. A lot of AI is now being deployed to read through these prospectuses and pull out the right data for reporting. And these platforms like Case and iCapital are not just startups. They're backed by the biggest players on Wall Street. They sort of become, by definition, the operating standard. So I think thumbs up. This is going to be a very hot place. It's only going to increase and grow as advisors learn more, and particularly if Case has a whole educational component to it. Which is smart. They're going to teach people how to do it, educate them. So then that gives you not only see why on the back end in case something goes wrong with these investments, but it's been a long time since the early days of limited partnerships and illiquid non-traded REITs have been an issue when regulators have got their hands on it, and the rules have changed. So that's my story.
All right. Well, I'm not totally down on it, because I have had a chance to talk to some very impressive engineering folks and folks that have led some very impressive engineering teams, and they have attracted a lot of talent, a lot of it even from Europe, building interesting things that haven't been built before. And I'm a fan of technology more than anything else. So I'm hopeful that it ultimately will be used and will benefit clients and, of course, advisors. Still, there's an awful lot of hype going on right now.
Of course, that's your opinion as a technology reporter. You've dug under the hood, but I think from a broader macro perspective and where the industry is headed, stocks, bonds, cash are fantastic until they're not. So that's why we need exposure to other asset classes. This is just the beginning. These platforms are going to turbocharge that because they took that operational issue and removed it. Like having a place to go, to open accounts, all the custodians integrated, All the reporting platforms are integrated, and it's a much more user-friendly asset class than most.
And at the very least, there will be a big fire sale and all that tech will be acquired by somebody else.
Well, maybe that is the story here, but you just don't know that. Maybe that's the next hypernaut.
Maybe.
Diana, what do you think?
Well, I think like the number one indicator here is, you're seeing all these traditionally institutional asset managers, like Apollo, the Hamilton Lanes, big alternative institutional asset managers launching private wealth divisions and hiring folks from the wealth management industry to sell their products and to innovate these products for the RIA market, right? So, I don't know. I think I got to go with Tim here. I don't think it's hype.
Right.
Absolutely.
I think that it's here to stay. I do think that there are some, young early players that are just now getting into the space. I don't know if they're gonna take off like the Case and iCapital platforms, but I do think the trend of alternative platforms is here to stay. So there you have it. Thanks for joining us on this Hypernaut, and we'll see you next time.